I mean, I'm old enough to remember, blackouts and everything that went on in the 70s. So, it's not fun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my dad was working on a hot dog stand outside Olympia trying to make money. What that does to families who are already starving,
It's hard. It's hard not to just feel miserable about it all a lot of the time. Yeah. And because you can't avoid it, like it's everywhere. It's hard to switch off from the weight of it all a lot of the time.
If you could give the government a message, what would it be?
God, another Guy Fawkes.
Yeah.
We got very lucky because our landlady is not a gargoyle,
Yeah.
Our tenancy renewed in August, when obviously that was sort of right in the midst of inflation spiraling and rents rising and whatever. And our rent only went up £50 a month. There are three of us living in the flat, so £50 between us. So
we got really lucky.
Yeah,
Really lucky.
we moved in August of 2021, and it was like an expensive flat. So it's a nice place to live. But now we've gone from living somewhere that was expensive, almost outside of our budget, to suddenly being very, very affordable.
Right.
Just because our landlady has only put up rent by 50 quid.
Do you think the government understands the kind of extent of what people are facing?
Yeah. Well, I think it'd be quite hard not to know. It's quite obvious and stuff. But I feel like they do know.
Yeah.
Surely.
Yeah, my circumstances right now are good, but if there were to be any changes to my living situation or anything, it could get quite uncomfortable quite quickly in terms of my financial state. So
I mean, I'm old enough to remember, blackouts and everything that went on in the 70s. So, it's not fun. I mean, my dad was working on a hot dog stand outside Olympia trying to make money. What that does to families who are already starving, But who's going to take responsibility? Who's going to actually make a change? Do something about it. That, God, if I knew that.
You'd be in power.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'd be in power.
I'm not doing too bad. I've actually signed up to a guardianship. So I'm,
really?
I'm a glorified squatter, as it's called, so I'm just, all my bills and everything are called for, but I'm just one of the lucky ones,
To maybe people watching who don't necessarily know what a guardianship is, what is a guardianship?
Yeah, a guardianship is is whenever a organisation takes over a building that's trying to be sold, and in the meantime to have some sort of income, they just have people that come on a 1 month kind of contract, so they may be kicked out in a month, or they can leave in a month, but they just don't know whenever they'll be kicked out essentially. But it's a cheap way of living, and it's all over London. But it's a better way from getting away from the evil landlords.
I feel that it's really just the sort of breakdown of something that's been coming for a long, long time.
Yeah, this
and you're
isn't
really
overnight.
seeing it, especially within the strikes, which I think are both amazing and awful at the same time, because it's
because it's making things worse.
but
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind so much if something happens in the end, if we get a result, if they get a pay rise. But if it's all been for nothing, then restaurants, pubs, bars, local shops, people that are really struggling anyway, this is make or break. So I'm all for unions, though. We need them. This is, we are a democratic society.
I don't trust this government. I don't really trust this government. I think they've let us down a lot. I think they haven't been transparent. Now, I'm not on sides here. I'm not pro-Labour, I'm not pro-Tory. I think both of them have let us down in certain ways, and I think both of them are quite similar in certain ways. I think Labour have moved more champagne socialists rather than what they used to be 20, 30 years ago, like Tony Benn and everyone like that. So I just feel a bit dissociated from the UK government in general. I wish we had some sort of representation for the hard workers and the people at the bottom that are making this country what it is.
What have you made of the strike movement this year?
I completely understand. I have a lot of family that used to work for the fire brigade, the ambulance, and everything that they've told me is that they just haven't kept up with inflation. and it's impossible to have a full-time job in some of these departments. So I completely understand why they're going on strike. It's just the time that they went on strike was obviously quite tough for the public, but I understand that obviously that's how they make it so public. You know,
If you could give the government a message, what would it be?
Get out of office, leave, let someone else do it. That would probably be my message.
Who would you want to take over?
General election would be my message.
General election?
Yeah.
Who would you want to take over?
Well, Labour right now.
Do you like Starmer?
I actually do. Yeah.
What do you like about him?
I like how he's not like that easy to make fun of. He's not a caricature. He's just like a bloke that seems sensible.
That's good.
Yeah, so that's my answer.
I
Georgie
back
doesn't know
that.
who Keir Starmer is.
No, I do. Obviously, I do. I back her, whatever she says.
Whilst I have some children, family at home, trying to make them more aware of it, I think it's something I'd always been aware of. Maybe when you hold the purse strings a bit more, you're always aware of it. But certainly, if you've got any dependents, you want to make sure that they're aware of that. So that's something to bear in mind.
Is that difficult to Is that difficult? Do you explain that to your children? Is that like a difficult conversation to have?
Yeah, no, my kids are quite sensible. They think they get it. Try to equate the leaving of the lights on to actually what that means in regards to how did they think that energy was created. And it's not just a case of pounds and pence at the end of the day. It's a case actually, they've got to have some kind of environmental conscience as well. And I think my kids certainly do. So
good.
People are saying that sort of capping energy prices and stuff like that is sort of like a socialist policy, which would obviously help a lot of things because energy costs are the thing that's most like the highest thing at the moment. But then you see France and you see Macron, who is by no means a socialist, and he capped energy rises at 4%. And that almost like immediately fixed their cost of living crisis because people weren't worrying about their energy prices going up by however many £1,000 a year. So it's not even kind of being left wing, it's just being a bit more responsible.
Yeah.
And it's really difficult to unseat a party in power unless they do something really stupid.
Which they have done
Which
a
they
lot
have done
for the past year. It has been quite.
It has. At least they've got rid of Johnson, who was just, crazy. I think the best thing that I've heard Keir Starmer say of anything that he said is that he's going to eradicate the hereditary peerage system and modify the House of Lords. I think we're a laughing stock of the world.
Yeah.
To say that we're a democracy with that in place.
If you could give the government one message, what would it be?
Be more honest, be more transparent. Let us know exactly what you're going to do. Don't butter it up in words that, don't be a salesman and try and sell us it. Just tell us the truth, be transparent, because I think you'll find that a lot of the public are a lot smarter than you think. Yeah.
If you could give the government a message, what would it be?
God, another Guy Fawkes? I don't know.
Yeah.
I know nothing else will ever reach them, so
yeah.
I'll just say, go for yourself.
I don't know.
It's hard. It's hard not to just feel miserable about it all a lot of the time. Yeah. And because you can't avoid it, like it's everywhere. It's hard to switch off from the weight of it all a lot of the time. And it's hard.
Yeah, it's very hard. It's kind of, you kind of need to sort of take solace in the things that you can take solace in, because if you don't, then it's so easy to just kind of fall into just thinking, well, everything's fucked, so it doesn't matter. And I don't think our generation can afford to do that because we're the ones who are going to feel the effect of the generation above us leading us down this path. So.